What's going on, everybody? It's IFBB Pro Josh Jefferson, aka the Moza Muscle, and I am back with my boy. Talk to him.
Paul Marco, IFBB Pro, the first IFBB Pro in the group. How we doing?
Very true, but I'll be the first one to turn around and do the actual division that they will end up in. Boom. Project open. So, with that said, welcome to the Next Up podcast. Uh, we got a lot of things. It's been a while since we've run one of these. So, like, Colin, what's life been like? How's everything going?
Life's good, brother. It is busy, very busy now. Um, my comp season's starting to ramp up. I got a bunch of people on stage in the next couple weeks. Got some appearances at pro calls. Got a big show in Raleigh. Some Natty Boys. A bunch of shit in Charlotte. So it's good. It's
Awesome.
good. Blessed to be busy. I would never want to bitch about being this busy because I would have killed to be this busy last year. So very happy and blessed to be where I'm at. How about yourself? What's going on in the new life, Josh?
I also have people getting ready for shows. Two natty guys 6 weeks out from the OCB Liberty. Um, never been to an OCB show, so that one's gonna be interesting.
That's
Especially
gonna be
with how I fucking act. And it's a Sunday, so it's going to be a very interesting one. A Sunday during football season. Um, but hey, it is what it is. Yeah, I got someone getting ready for Long Island's and New England championships. So some should be fun. And then we shall see how those wind up going. How is your personal bodybuilding going? What phase are you at? Where are you looking at? Actually,
everything's good.
real quick, shout out Austin Brown, and his client for winning the Mr. USA, the overall and open bodybuilding. That is a fucking statement.
Facts.
Um, Texas Pete is an absolute mutant, and everyone had him winning the overall. I think well before like this show even started. And then shit. I mean, I don't know his client's name off the top of my head, so I'm not gonna try and make it up. But Austin's guy came to your trap and took over your trap. Fucked around and won an overall, stole it from him. So congratulations, that's awesome. Awesome, love you, brother. That's fucking sick. Um, Now to get into your personal bodybuilding.
Yeah, the currently in a very back end of a diet. Um, Getting nice and skinny, feeling nice and skinny, feeling very light, but I feel good. One last pull down before we start prep. So it'll be, or I'm sorry, one last push phase. So within the next couple days, we'll start pushing up again, probably from the 20 to 25 weeks. Get ready for pro debut. Just, I was inevitably going to start my prep. Well, I was going to prep until like July or August and do my run that I spoke on of doing Atlanta Pro, Texas Pro, Raleigh Cup. But instead, we're probably going to shorten that timeline, and I'll probably end up dropping somewhere in the mix of Detroit Pro, fucking possibly New York or Pittsburgh as one of my big shows. And then we'll kind of go from there. Again, nothing's really set in stone because again, timeline kind of got pushed up because I don't want to fucking wait that long. And I'm not trying to wait another year to step on stage. So
Yeah,
we'll be stepping on stage a lot earlier.
that's fair. That's fair and fire. Personally, I have no idea when the fuck I'm stepping back on stage. I keep saying Tampa. I I think at this point, unless I all of a sudden lose, 20 pounds during a cruise, like a quick 20, the classic cap is all but gone. Um,
Yeah.
so that means for me to even be competitive on the open stage, I got to be minimum 250. And I still think that they turn around my feedback would be you're too small at 250 on an open stage. just because I'm 6 foot, 6'1". Like it doesn't matter. So we are just biding our time and just fucking bodybuilding. And honest to God, I haven't done it like this per se since working with Kuba. During like an off-season prep setting or an off-season setting where we worked together for 3 years and I only prepped for half a year. So that was like that's where I loved bodybuilding. It was all about the training. The food was cool, but like it was more so about like how good can you get at this? How awesome can you be at nailing your variables? Um, and that kind of leads us into the topic that we want to talk about today, which was if you started all over, started bodybuilding from day one, what would you change? And like we're not going to turn around and go through the whole process. Like, what's the number one thing you would change from day one?
I wouldn't start my bodybuilding career with a prep. Oh,
You
I'm sorry. That's no, no, no. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. I wouldn't start my bodybuilding career with a prep. I wouldn't. Fuck me. Said the same thing again. I wouldn't start my enhanced bodybuilding career with a prep.
all right, rewind. Were you bodybuilding natural at all?
For the sake of bodybuilding, yes. For the sake of competitively bodybuilding, no. But I wouldn't. The whole concept is I wouldn't have hopped on PEDs whilst going into a prep. I would have hopped on PEDs going into my first push, so I have maximum response from it.
Okay. So what were you doing before you started like PEDs? How were you training? Was your nutrition quote unquote locked in? Were you dialed?
We were dialed, my boy. We were honestly, I was in a really good spot. This was coming off the back end of it was a couple years down the line, but I again the whole start to my fitness journey was like I lost 100 pounds, 255 to 155, and then from there I just started slowly building up. So I like training was good. I just did a very much a push pull legs
Can we
split.
rewind for a second? You lost 100 pounds
Yeah,
in how long?
5 months.
It's possible, people. It's possible. And think about it, right? Colin steps on stage, he don't have loose skin. It's very possible.
Yeah, it was, because again, you hear the freshman 50 or the freshman 15. I put on the freshman 50.
I was gonna say I hear more the freshman 50 than the freshman 15.
Yeah, I put on 50 pounds from start to finish of semester of my first year. Whilst being a college athlete, imagine that. You can't fucking outwork a shitty diet. Imagine that.
You sure as shit can't outwork a college buffet style fucking workout.
Well, and that's the thing. So it's like I put on all that weight. So then I came home basically was called a fat fuck for about 6 to 8 months. I was like, I got to do something about it. So then I lost all the weight. And shout out Christian Guzman, who got me into the whole bodybuilding situation. So did all that, started building. Again, bulked cut, all that fun stuff. Did that for about 2 years. And I was like, I want to do a show prep, and I hired Brady Barnes, and we did a show prep. I looked about 8 weeks out on stage. And that's what started my bodybuilding career, but that's also what started my enhanced bodybuilding career. So like I said, the one thing I would have done definitely is ran a diet, got nice and lean, and then started my enhanced career. But I didn't. And that definitely puts in detriment for the sake of response of, the ability to grow off of enhancements in the beginning. Um, and again, there are also some things for the sake of training intensity, training style. My training really wasn't up to par back then. Again, like intensity was there, but actual execution wasn't. So it was the needs to learn how to actually train correctly, and all that kinds of stuff. So there's a bunch of things that go into it, but the all encompassing, I wish I didn't start my enhanced bodybuilding career with a prep rather than a bolt.
Fair. That's a good one. Personally, I think I've talked about like my whole history with it, but like I came out of college football in a very depressive state, um, where I was drinking a lot. And the thing is, like, here's the thing that people I think don't understand when it comes to me. I've been over 250 pounds since 2019. So it wasn't like, oh, yo, how much weight have you gained since, the start of your bodybuilding career? This is the first time that I've been consistently over what I used to weigh for a long period of time. Hashtag 270. Um, but I was like 250, Pillsbury Doughboy, and I knew how to diet to the degree of like while I was in college, I saw 250 on the scale. I said, fuck. So I don't want to say I crash dieted, but I just went straight to 2,800 calories. I hated cardio, so I wouldn't do it. Um, I could literally list out what my meal plan was. It was 4 slices of butter bread from, I think it was Nature Valley, Nature's Own.
Nature's Own, yeah.
Yeah, Nature's Own butter bread, half an avocado that I did not weigh, and the Kirkland carton of egg whites, a small one per day. Or that was meal one. Meal two, 8 ounces of 90-10 ground beef with 2 cups of rice. Meal three, 8 ounces of 90-10 ground beef with 2 cups of rice. Last meal, protein shake and a pack of trolley gummy worms.
Solid.
2,800 calories. Boom, to the dome, done. Right. And it worked. I lost 15 pounds. And then I just outdrank it much. Like I just gained the weight right back. So once I graduated college, I turned around. I hired a coach. Rest in peace to said coach. I'm not going to say his name. I don't want to speak ill on him, with anyone knowing who he was. But he was a very big like crash dieter. I got a new training program every 2 weeks. So there was no way of like learning. Like you get a new training program, you run it the first time, you're kind of assessing weights. The second time you run it, you're like, oh no, I got to go a little heavier here. I got to go a little lighter here. And then it was a new training program. So I never really got to progress in the gym. I had a lot of cardio thrown at me. Um, and then on Saturdays when I had a cheat meal, because I was allowed a cheat meal, it was a cheat day. And if I was training legs, that meant more than a cheat day because I was going to get a bagel sandwich on the way to the gym or on the way to work. I was going to work. I was going to eat my pre workout meal, which was normally cereal. And then I was going to eat whatever the fuck I wanted after that. So I'd wake up Sunday, and honestly, I would normally be down a pound. And the reason was because I was crash dieting on 1,200 calories the entire week. So I would have, if I could go back in time and start fresh. This was all before I, started using gear. Um, I would have dieted myself with more adherence. I would have learned what worked for my body because I remember sitting there and understanding that like my body ran better off of fats back then. When I was natural, I ran better off of higher fat. Now I don't have fats in my diet. I don't need them. I don't run any better off of them. I pretty much just run carbs. But back then, I needed the higher fats, and I would actually lose weight if I ran higher fats and lower carbs, as opposed to the opposite, even if calories were equated. I could get away with not doing cardio by doing it like that. Also, I was a college football player. My metabolism was ripping at that point. So I was never small by any means. But that's how I would start over. Then my next start over point, and we'll get into this next, would be the first cycle I had. I went from 250 to I think I was 221. I have the picture somewhere of what I look like. I'll try to see well if I'm talking, I can pull it up because I know when it was. Um, but I got relatively lean. I could see some abs for one of the first times in my life. Um, and I remember the coach had suggested he was like, "Hey, if you excuse me, if you want to turn around and get more results, we should probably try this. Like this will work. I am, yeah. So I was like, all right, cool, let's do it. Let's run this. Started gear for the first time, 500 tests. Great first cycle, right? I think I ran 6 weeks of that. And then 6 weeks later, he goes, we could add a little fire to the flame. I could send you EQ and master on. We're going to run 300 and 300. So my first cycle went from 500 milligrams for 6 weeks to 6 weeks later, I was running a 1.1 grams. And that was just way too much, way too early. And for the spot I was in, like I said, I was lean ish, but I was by no means lean. This is what I looked like at the time. So I was lean ish for me, but not lean by any means. And that was way too big of a cycle to then also be cutting. So, like you said, I wouldn't have started in the cut with being enhanced. I wouldn't have started at that point at all. I would have just dieted. I would
Yeah.
have got myself significantly leaner than that. But also, I had this little fear, and I think that a lot of people have this of, I don't want to get down below X weight. It takes what it takes. If you got to get lean for the first time, and your whole life been over 200 pounds, brother, you might be 160.
Yeah.
Legitimately be 160 pounds at the end of that. And you got to be comfortable with that. So now you can go into your first cycle, your first gear experience if you want to, and what you would change from there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I just wish when I first started, it was like I had a bigger baseline of knowledge of it. I went into it super blind. So I was just listening to the shit he told me to take. And it's like, I mean, my first cycle I was had fucking trending like for a show prep.
How much?
Uh fuck, 280.
Okay, that's a handsome amount.
I mean, and dude, I was losing my mind. Like I again, biofeedback, nothing was really tracked. It was like, hey, how do you feel? Like shit, good. That's how you're supposed to. And it's like, no, it wasn't. I mean, I felt extremely toxic. Looking back at it, I felt extremely toxic. I felt very just shitty. I was a shitty person. My girlfriend at the time fucking hated me. Um, Quit a job. It was just a fucking mess. But I got to stage. That's all that matters.
That's
Um,
that's true.
yeah, it was funny though because like when I started my bodybuilding career, it was the same weight cap that I started. It was the same weight cap that I had um when I turned pro. So for 4 years, I still shot that 182 weight cap. It never went up, never went down. And I always made weight, but it was, the ability to go about it and also the knowingness of what works best for myself and how I feel best and what works and what doesn't is something I've been able to kind of iron out from this point forward. But um it's also for the sake of being a lot more knowledgeable for like how I actually feel, not, you know, just making our coach happy to make him happy. Like if I feel like shit, I feel like shit.
Yeah.
Not just telling him I feel good to make him kind of fuck off for the week. But again, it's everything that's kind of shaped me to this point. So I mean, it's a big portion where I mean, I think I was taking like fucking fuck. I'm trying to think. Like almost 2 grams worth of shit, maybe a little less. It was a lot. I mean, for a first cycle, it was a shit ton, and I looked natty. Genuinely, I just looked like a national athlete. Which is depressing. But again, that's like the biggest thing I would have changed is I would have done a bulk instead of a show prep. Um, but again, you learn over time as things progress, as you get more knowledge on these little intricate details. What's going to work best for you? But man, that's just something. Even when people come to me about like starting their first cycle and whatnot. Granted, I was also way too young when I started. because, and when I say way too young, I mean way too young in the bodybuilding realm. Because again, I've only really been truly bodybuilding, quote unquote, for at that point, probably for like a year and a half, maybe two. Um, because like I said, I lost all the weight. So I'm like, oh, I know how to diet. I didn't fucking know how to diet. I just knew how to crash diet. 1,600 calories a day, baby. And we'll get
You're gonna
fucking
starve.
nice and peeled. Oh, yeah. See, and that's the thing. It's funny. Like, I look back to the days when I lost all that fucking weight and I'm bitching in prep. And I'm like, bro, I was doing literally from start to finish every fucking day until I lost all that fucking weight. I would do 250 grams of egg whites, two eggs, and a piece of sourdough toast. Meals two and three were chicken and lettuce with 100 grams of rice. Meal four, which is my pre-workout, was 200 grams of rice. No, it was 120 grams of rice and 120 grams of chicken. And then my post was a protein shake and two slices of bread. That's it. And it was like 1,600 calories. And I was like, I'm bitching about 2,800 right now. And I was doing 45 minutes of cardio every fucking day, 15 incline on the treadmill, 3.5 speed. And I was like bitching about anything I had to do for my fucking coach.
Yo, it's mad funny
But
because
because,
your fucking perception changes like a motherfucker, man. Like I feel the same way. Like when I was dieting like that, I remember I used to turn around when I was dieting with the first coach. Yeah, I was doing I remember the diet plan almost to a T, but I don't want to sound like I'm that fucking crazy. But it was like 2 cups of egg whites. Actually, no, I swapped it because I asked them if I could stop eating egg whites. Uh, so it was 180 grams of non-fat Greek yogurt and 80 grams of oats for meal one. To which I never knew how to like cook properly. So I would just do the dry fucking oats in there and eat it like that. So it was whey and just dry ass oats with no flavoring either. Then meal two was chicken and half a cup of rice. Meal three was chicken and half a cup of rice. Meal four was chicken and half a cup of rice. Meal five was the post workout meal, which was chicken and a full cup of rice. And all of those meals were supposed to have vegetables in it. As the diet progressed, half of the right or those first two meals I had rice got taken out. All of those meals were supposed to have vegetables in it. I would just save any rice that I had for pre and post workout. Uh, so I was just eating 6 ounces of chicken, pretty much 3 meals straight. And
dude,
when the oats got pulled, and it was just plain ass non-fat Greek yogurt, I just wouldn't eat it. I was just like, ah, fuck it, I don't need it.
dude, the funniest thing when because with Brady does not do refeeds. At least when I was with him, he didn't. And even for, what's his fucking name? Fuck. The guy who turned pro. I can't remember his fucking name. I feel like a dickhead. He turned to pro nationals. He won class C or D or some shit like that. Or he came second in class C or D. Um, but he does not do refeeds like at all. He just fucking buries you.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no cardio breaks. There's no. It's just fucking sit and shit and suffer. Dude, when I got my first refeed when I was with Jack, I literally cried. Like no, like all not trying to be fucking gay here. I literally started bawling my eyes out because I'm like, I don't know what to feel right now. It was like, but it was also weird because like I was so used to just fucking bury yourself, don't feel anything, fucking died until you're just a piece of skin, like just absolutely suffer. So it's like when Jack goes, okay, we're gonna do a refeed, and it was like double the carbs on my training day. I literally started bawling my eyes out because I'm like, I don't even know what to feel right now. And it's just wild because like again, there's many ways to skin a cat and there's so many different approaches. So it's like when I got together with Jack and we did what we did, it was so different. And again, why do you think I'm still with Jack? Because it's fucking enjoyable and he's responsive and he's knowledgeable. So it's like, you know, people always come to me. They're like, "Oh, hey, fucking, I'm thinking about signing up with Jack. What do you think?" And I'm like, "What am I gonna fucking shit talk the guy?" Like,
Bro. We had
he
this
turned.
conversation.
That's the thing. It's like he turned me pro. I haven't left him yet. What the fuck? Like, what? What do you mean? Like, yeah, what am I gonna say? No, he sucks, but I'm still with him. No, motherfucker. Like, I'm still with him. He's great.
Bro, I like say this all the time when it comes to like people asking me like, "Oh, would you recommend Joe?" It's like, bro, have you seen what I did in a year? It's
Exactly.
like, do I need to turn around and do I need to say anything else? And even if I did say anything else, bro, I'm on Homie's podcast. We're boys. We were boys before I started working with him as a coach. You think I'm gonna shit talk this man? Are you retarded? Sorry, you're not supposed to use that word. Are you retarded? Like, come on now. Like, oh, yo, nah, he's a terrible coach. I do say to people, and I'll say this on the podcast, so if anyone's thinking about hiring, Joe is a dick to me because that's the type of coach I need. And I told him that straight up. I was like, yo, listen, you kind of have to be a dickhead to me because otherwise I'm not going to listen. I'm going to do my own thing. You saw it with Dino, right? If Dino turned around and he told me something and he was nice about it, I was gonna fucking go off and do my own thing because I knew how to count macros, I knew how to swap foods out, so I just would.
Yeah.
So Joe is not like that, but I asked him not to be like that. Other than that, best coach I've ever had, bar none. Not even fucking close. I know Jack's the same way with you, and honestly, that brings me to my next point. What's the next thing I would change? I wouldn't skimp on how much I was willing to pay a coach
Yeah.
because I worked with the first guy because he was cheap. Then the next guy I worked with was double the price, which I looking back, bro, that was a very low price. Very low. I think I was paying $100 a month. And there were times where like I paid for like 4 or 5 months up front. And it would last like 8 months before he asked for a payment again. Because I didn't keep track. I had just bought the gym. I wasn't paying attention. Um, And then he'd be like, "Yeah, just pay me for the next 4 months, and it'd be another $400." And it's like, "Yo, I got a year coaching for like $800." And he's a very well known, like, especially in the Northeast with bodybuilding. If you know, you know. Um, then like the next coach I went to was Kuba, and Kuba was my most expensive coach, and that is when my bodybuilding made the most amount of jump, like the most progress I made. Um, Most expensive up to that point, we'll say. And it was like triple the price. Like Kuba was like, I don't know, 300, 350, something along that line. It was UK money, so that's fucking conversion bullshit.
Yeah.
Changed every month. But I worked with Kuba for a decent period of time, and it leveled up my bodybuilding. Also, for anyone out there looking for a coach, if you start shopping for the cheapest coach, I promise you, you're gonna fuck off on the plan. If you're paying for a coach and it's hitting your bank account, you're like, fuck. You're not gonna fuck off on the plan. You're gonna turn around and you're gonna say, shit, I gotta make sure that I nail this because if I don't nail this, I just wasted three, four, $500 a month. Genuinely, if someone's charging you $500 a month, it's probably you gotta really understand that like they should be on your fucking ass.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't be able to fuck off on $500 a month coach. Just saying.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, I will say I'm not going to put his price out there because it's just not it. But extremely blessed to find and pay what I pay. Very lucky. I also got in super early, but regardless, it's very rare that you'll pay a low amount and still have that much progress. Again, it always comes down to the person because, like you said, if you're going to invest in your future, your health, your bodybuilding career, you want to pay a decent, substantial bit where it's like, all right, that kind of hurt, but you want to show up and show out. If you're paying $150 a month, even 200 to some extent, it's kind of like, well, it's, if you got the money to do it, yeah, it's kind of just like a drop of water in the bucket. Um, it's there's a certain extent where, again, it also comes down to it as well. If you have a coach who is, charging $350, $400 a month and they are just not responsive, they're not getting back to you even within the day, like letting your messages sit there, check-ins are late. Yeah, there's room for conversation. Be like, hey, dude, what the fuck is happening? And also, don't be afraid to fire a coach. Hear me out. You're paying for a service. At the end of the day, you pay for a service. And with said service, there needs to be delivery. So whether that be, again, whatever direction your body's going for the sake of the bodybuilding career, if you're growing, if you're prepping, if you're cutting, whatever the case may be, it's like if he is delivering on his end or her end for making sure that you are nailing all your targets, that you are going in the proper direction, that you're nice and healthy, that everything is nice and balanced. Great. But it all comes down to it where, especially when you're with a coach for X amount of time, they get comfortable. They get very comfortable for the sake of not getting back to you in time, thinking they have enough leeway. It's like at the end of the day, you're paying for a service. It's just like a subscription to anything else. You can definitely, there's some differences obviously than paying for Netflix, but it's the same thing. You have to be able to go to your coach and then being able to give you a proper response and proper direction, even 3 years down the line. And not having that, when a coach signs a new client, they're hyper focused on them because they want to keep them, obviously. But with that said, you want to be able to go to him or her with any question at any point in time and be able to get a reasonable response in a reasonable timeline or time frame. But also, as a client, you can't be fucking off as well. You can't be getting comfortable. You can't be missing check-in. You can't be missing payments. Like if the coach works via Zelle and Venmo, it's like if you're just blatantly, oh, I can wait a week and he has to chase you, you're a dickhead for that. Because again, this is a business.
And also, the coach will turn around and start to take, if you're someone who wants to delay the payments, they will start to take you less seriously. I don't care who it is. I sit there and it's like, oh, yo, could I get a discount? It's like I don't take you as seriously then,
Yeah.
because just simply, if you're not willing to invest into the coaching to that degree, then you're probably not really the right person. Like how
Yeah.
bad
And
is
that's
proven by how much of a how I don't want to say it like this because a stressed bodybuilder is a bad bodybuilder, but how stressed are you about what you're paying now? How financially straining is it on you? Because if you pay too little, you'll be more likely to fuck off. If you pay too much, you can't do it effectively. It has to be a happy middle ground, but also you have to be in it. You got to make it worth it for you, and you got to make it worth it for the coach who you're working with, for them to turn around and give a fuck.
that's the thing. I mean, coaches obviously have their prices, but they have leeway. It's their own business. They can make their own prices. So again, if you go to a coach, like hypothetically speaking, let's say Jacoby, just because again, he's just popping pro cards and pro wins and all this shit. He's a great coach. If you are shown to be a great athlete, great physique, a lot of potential, not a dickhead, again, for what he knows of you through like let's say social media, coaches are willing to have a bit more leeway for the sake of, making a price work, splitting up payments, stuff of that nature. Um, but if you're just a fucking nobody and you haven't really done anything with bodybuilding, like competing wise, and you're posting some random bullshit online, and, you know, even when you have a conversation with the guy, you can't really hold a conversation because you're too hyper focused on whatever case may be. Insert bullshit here, or you're so hyper focused on the price, or you're so hyper focused on this. It's just like you. there's definitely leeway that they're willing to bend and meld for you, but at the same time, if you're not willing to sacrifice a little bit, they're not willing to sacrifice at all because again, they literally pick from a pool of greatness. And it's like they're not going to be willing to go out on a whim here and say, "Oh, I'm going to do you what's it called?
Do you a
I'm not
service?
going to do
Do you a
huh?
discount? Do you a service? Do you a discount?
Yeah, like I'm not going to basically
It's
I'm not going to give you a
literally,
discount because why? Like they like give me a fucking reason why. Like they're just not going to go out and do that for you because I mean again, you've done nothing and you've shown to them that you're really not going to be a great athlete for them, so why waste their time?
yeah, proven track record makes it a lot easier to give somebody some sort of a discount.
Oh yeah.
If you go to the same gym as head coach and you're in there working your ass off, and you're making progress by yourself, you're working really hard, and like you just you're steered in the wrong direction. Like you're just a little bit off kilter on where you need to be. That coach would much more likely give you a discount, or you could work something off, right? Like, hey, listen, currently, I'll give you a discount if you're willing to work at the gym. You got to do something for me to do something for you. But if you slack on your job here, that price is going up next month.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. Um, but aside from the pricing and stuff like that, the quality of the coach matters. And honestly, it's not so much about the quality of the coaching because realistically, we all eat chicken, we all eat rice, we all eat cream of rice, we all eat whey protein, right? And if you don't, and you're some sort of a vegan, you're not watching this anyway because you're not a bodybuilder. You're a fucking fag. Um, but outside of that, I don't care. Um, Bundle of sticks, right? At the end of the day, when you're sitting there and you go back to it, it's how well can you communicate with that coach? How open do you feel about telling them what's going on? And what I find to be most important, the level up difference between one coach and another is how do they do your training? How can they communicate what they want training wise to you in a way that clicks? Because that's the biggest difference in all of this. I
Yeah.
take tests. Colin takes tests, right? I eat chicken. Eats chicken. I sleep. He sleeps. Every other variable except how we train is the same. But if you put me on Colin's split or Colin on my split, we're both fucked, right? I train legs twice a week. He needs to train legs once every 2 weeks, pretty much. How many times are you training back a week?
Two.
Cool. I look at dumbbells. Like I trained back hard last week and I gained like 6 pounds
Yeah.
because of the amount of inflammation I gained from it. So it's not so much a matter of how good is that coach at explaining the little stuff, but how can they communicate to you and how do they build your training for your specific need? If you're someone who needs a back and you have one back day, telling you that coach isn't paying attention to you.
Yep.
But with that said, that's pretty much the brevity of what we would all change or what we would change in the early parts of our career. We hope this helps. Use the links, use the codes, all that shit. Code Moses for Kitty's bikinis. No, Kitty's bikinis is Moses method. All the other ones are Moses. So HD Muscle, Natural Body, Iron Society clothing, and Case cookies. So use the code. If you want coaching, DM either one of us on Instagram. They'll be linked in the description below. With that said, we're out. Thank you.